Let me challenge you with something most people never realize. Making money is one level, keeping money is another. But building wealth, that's an entirely different psychology. Because by now, if you followed this journey, you understand money isn't just about hard work, it's mindset. In part one, we exposed the beliefs that keep people financially stuck. In part two, we explored how your mindset must evolve through different stages of life. But now we reach the deeper question. Why do some people finally start making more money and still never become truly wealthy? Why do they earn more yet remain trapped? Because income alone does not create freedom. Mindset must evolve again. And this is where people stop being workers and start becoming architects of their future.
Yeah, for many, learn to earn, right? But few learn to build. They escape survival only to become imprisoned by consumption. Yeah, they rise in income, yet not in consciousness. And so, through their numbers, through even though their numbers grow, that's what I'm trying to say, their freedom does not. For wealth is not merely accumulation of currency, it is the construction of structure, and structure begins in the mind. So the question now becomes, am I merely earning more? Or am I becoming someone who builds?
And this is where the game changes. Most people spend years trying to increase income, but almost no time upgrading the mindset required to keep, multiply, and protect it. So let's break down the next evolution. So essentially, we're going from consumption to ownership. This is one of the biggest financial mindset shifts that you'll ever make. Average mindset asks, what can I buy? Wealth mindset asks, what can I own that pays me? And this means shifting from buying liabilities to acquiring assets, spending for status to investing for freedom, looking rich to actually becoming financially strong. Because many people increase income only to increase lifestyle. And that creates a bit of a golden cage.
Oh, you mean they increase their lifestyle cost? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. The untrained mind seeks appearance, hey. The disciplined mind seeks foundation. One builds the image of wealth, the other builds the wealth itself. An image can be borrowed, right? But structure must be forged. So ask not, what does this purchase say about me? Ask instead, does this strengthen or enslave me? And I just want to define, I have a new definition of discipline, by the way, Jono.
Go on.
So discipline is the act of looking after your future self. Yeah?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
The act of looking after your future and your, specifically, not just your future, right? Is the act of looking after and developing your future self. That the gratitude that you will get is from that future self saying, I'm glad I did this in 2026. I'm
Yeah.
glad
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
this
I
in
love
20.
it.
So that's my new form of, because what's discipline, really? You know what I mean? So it's, besides being a disciple of an idea, which is what the word discipline came from, right? It doesn't make sense anymore, right? So anyway, I thought I'd add that in.
Yeah, I really like that. But look, this is where most people stay trapped,
Yeah.
right? They believe more hours equals more money.
Yep.
But eventually, time becomes the ceiling. Wealth builders understand leverage through skills, through systems, through people, through technology, through investments. And the question becomes, how do I make my effort multiply beyond my direct time? Because if money only comes when you work, your income has serious limits.
Yeah. A person trading every hour for every coin has not yet mastered wealth, for they have built a machine. They cannot move without their constant sacrifice. The wise do not ask only, how hard can I work? They ask, how wisely can my work continue without me? And please don't get me wrong, a lot of gurus on the internet preach work smart, not work don't work hard, work smart. No, I disagree with that. You need both. You can't choose one or the other. You need both, but you need to work smart. And a lot of the gurus as well on the internet preach that in order to be wealthy, you cannot trade your time for money. I totally disagree with that. What if somebody pays you?
Yeah.
I disagree with that. What if somebody offers you, I don't know, $2 million an hour? Of course you're going to take it.
Sure. But how often is that going to happen, right?
Oh, that's correct. That's correct. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the finality of that statement, never trade time for money, is, I think, flawed that way because it's so final. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is still a condition that you will work for money. Yeah. Even building a product, you still need to put the time for it. Yeah. Before that product goes out and becomes profitable. So anyway, that's an idea that I've been contemplating about.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's quite a long conversation on that one.
Yeah.
But look, scarcity thinking sounds like, statements like this. There's not enough. If they win, I lose. I need to hold tightly. And abundance thinking sounds a bit more like, how do I create more? What opportunity exists here? How do I expand? Now, this doesn't mean blind optimism. It means trained perception. Because your brain finds what it's conditioned to seek. If you train it for scarcity, you'll see threats. If you train it for strategy, you'll see openings. And this is what I say a lot. How you train that unconscious part of your mind to seek out abundance, to seek out success.
Yeah, because, we still use the bodies. The hardware of a human being is built for survival, right?
Right.
The body of a human being, has evolved for scarcity, as in, I need to hunt because there's not a lot of food, right? That's the reason we're suckers for sweets, because in our ancestors, when they were foraging, when they find a fruit shrub or something like berries, they go nuts. They can't carry that food, so they need to pig out and eat all that sugar, right? But we're no longer there. And like you said, how do you evolve from that? Yeah? And that scarcity thing is not often the absence of opportunity, but the absence of expanded sight. I think it's short-sightedness. I think it's myopic, yeah? For the fearful mind sees closed doors, while the trained mind searches for hidden hinges. the world often yields. Really, it does. Or, I mean, the circle anyway. Not to those who panic, but to those who perceive it.
Yeah, look, I guess what we're talking about is going like that wealth requires nervous system strength,
Yes, and an evolved
right?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, look, this is and this is huge. You know, more money often creates bigger emotional triggers. For example, fear of losing, fear of risk, fear of judgment, fear of success. And if your nervous system is unstable, you sabotage growth. So wealth requires emotional fitness. This means training yourself to remain stable when negotiating, when investing, when leading, when scaling, when handling uncertainty. Because often your financial ceiling is tied directly to your emotional ceiling.
I love that, man. Your
That's a
financial,
huge thing to say.
that's huge, man. Financial ceiling is tied directly to your emotional ceiling. That's so true. And I think I was listening to this podcast the other day. It's the Diary of the CEO, and I think Galloway or Calloway. I can't remember the bloke who said it. The only way he knows how to be rich is to do it slowly, right? And and part of that is the resilience of getting knocked down, getting punched in the face, and getting up, and doing it again, again, and again,
Yeah.
and again, and again, and again, right? And I think that's a problem with the younger generation. Um, I know every generation says that, but the younger generation is built for harmony and getting along. Nothing wrong with that, right? But what if they don't get along? What if there's no harmony, and they get knocked back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, many do not fail because they lack strategy. They fail because pressure reveals their inner instability. For when emotion governs action, impulse often replaces wisdom. Yeah, that mammalian brain takes over, right? And the wealth built on impulse is often temporary. So before one builds external empires, they must first govern internal storms. And I think we talked about this, Jono. Like, I got a friend, right? And his missus said to me that she just wants to win the lotto, right? And I
Well,
said,
there's a plan.
that's a plan, right? And the funny thing about it is, and she drinks a bit, as in a lot, right? She's unstable when she drinks. And I said to her, it's like, so what are you gonna do if you win the lotto? And then she says, oh, she's gonna party every day. And I'm thinking, oh man, so that's self-destruction.
Yeah, that might not end well.
Yeah, exactly. With that fuel called money for her, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So look, I guess when we're talking about identity,
Yes.
become the steward of wealth. All right. So, and this is the deepest layer. Create lasting wealth. You must stop seeing money as something you chase and start seeing yourself as someone capable of stewarding it wisely. The identity shift from earner to builder, from spender to investor, from consumer to creator, from fear to responsibility. Because money expands who you already are. So the real question is, am I becoming someone wealth can trust?
Man, that's a good one again.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
For wealth like power, that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not talking about Pablo Escobar level of wealth and power here, right? Just wealth and power in general often reveals more than it rewards, right? If a person lacks discipline, wealth magnifies chaos. If a person lacks wisdom, Wealth magnifies foolishness. But when character is forged, wealth becomes an instrument. For wealth, like power, often reveals more than it rewards. If a person lacks discipline, wealth magnifies chaos. If a person lacks wisdom, wealth magnifies foolishness. But when character is forged, wealth becomes like an instrument. So build not merely the hand that gains, but the mind that governs. Yeah.
All right. So look, let's make this practical. As we always do, let's go through a few exercises here. So exercise number 1, we're going to call the asset awareness audit. Write down everything you spend money on monthly. Then ask yourself, is this consumption or construction? What is building future freedom? What is only feeding present identity?
Okay, let's try and repeat this daily. It's an identity affirmation, an identity installation. I am someone who builds, protects, and multiplies value. Say that every day. Say that 10 times a day. Yeah? Make it like a chant, make it your mantra. Not just earns, but builds. So you gotta feel that, right?
Yeah, it's a huge shift. It seems really simple, but it's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Right? So exercise 3 is the leverage question. Every week, ask, how can I make this effort produce beyond my time? Could this become a system or a skill or an investment or a scalable process that repeats when I'm out of time?
All right, number 4, fourth exercise. Let's do an emotional calibration before any financial decisions. Ask this, yeah? Am I acting from fear, ego, or strategy? This interrupts the sabotage.
So important to bring in the acknowledgement of ego there.
Yes, big time, mate. Big time.
A lot of people make financial decisions based on ego.
Yeah.
And it rarely works out well.
And it works out really well. As a marketer, you kind of trigger that, hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So remember, guys, I'm part of my job as a marketer in advertising is to get the emotions up. So when you see an ad or you see a post or a movie, you trigger ego, you trigger pride from people. Probably not because to manipulate them, but because it makes them feel good, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
And so they will buy your stuff or go to your services. So that's the whole marketing and advertising industry is about that. Is making people feel good. But is it actually good for themselves? I'm not sure. I'll give you a scenario. If you go to McDonald's, you can buy a Happy Meal.
The irony of the name.
That's indeed. That's what I'm saying, right? It's crazy. Like my missus's friend, she's Chinese. When she landed in Australia, she started buying Happy Meals for her child because she believed the ad or the name of the product will make her happy, and her child will be happy, and the child was happy because that child got a toy.
Yeah.
So pride, ego, and a bit of there's many things that got triggered in just one act, one act of many things after that. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So one more exercise. So exercise 5, and we talk about this kind of thing a lot, is 10-year future pacing. Visualize yourself 10 years from now. What assets do you own? What systems serve you? What decisions created that life? Then ask, what identity must I build today to hold that future?
There comes a stage when a person must transcend the hunger merely to earn, and awaken to the discipline of building. For survival, ask, how do I get more? But mastery, yeah? Ask, how do I become more? Because wealth, real wealth, is rarely the reward of effort alone. It is the reward of expanded identity. To think beyond today, to act beyond fear, to build beyond impulse, right? And when this occurs, money is no longer your master, not your obsession, it becomes your instrument.
So here's where we bring this home. In part one was about breaking financial limitation. Part two was evolving through life stages. Then part three is build the mindset that not only earns money, but knows how to keep it, to grow it, and to use it wisely. Because the ultimate goal isn't just making more, it's becoming someone capable of creating freedom. So ask yourself now, am I living to earn, or am I building to become free?
For those who masters this, you'll no longer fear money. You'll no longer worship money. You'll no longer chase money. You will command money itself. And from that place, wealth is built with intention.
Because once you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator, you don't merely change your bank account, you change your bloodline. And that is where true wealth begins.
Yeah. All right, mate. What would you like to add and to finish off today's this week's episode?
All right, so let me leave you with this. Because if you've truly been listening across these 3 episodes, then by now you should understand something that most people spend their entire lives missing. Making money is not just about income. It's not just about effort. And it's definitely not just about luck. It's about who you become in relationship to money. Because here's what I've seen over and over again. Some people spend their whole lives trying to make more money without ever realizing that the very mindset they currently have is the exact mindset preventing them from holding more. They want greater wealth, but they're still thinking like a survivor, surviving, not thriving. Still reacting emotionally, still spending for validation, still avoiding risk, still hesitating at opportunities because deep down, they haven't yet built the internal structure required for external expansion. And this is where everything changes. Because the truth is, money does not simply amplify your lifestyle. It amplifies your psychology. If you're impulsive with little, you'll likely be impulsive with more. If you avoid responsibility now, more money often magnifies that pattern of avoidance. If you lack discipline, more income can actually create bigger chaos, not bigger freedom. So before you ask for more money, ask yourself a deeper question. Am I currently the kind of person who can actually build, hold, and multiply? Because if the answer is no, it's not bad news, that's powerful news. And why? Because it means the path forward is not random. It means wealth is not some mysterious thing reserved for other people. It means your next level is built through identity. and identity can be upgraded. This is where most people overcomplicate the journey. They think wealth begins with massive breakthroughs, giant risks, or overnight reinvention, but often it begins much smaller. It begins when you stop asking, how do I make quick money? And start asking, how do I become more valuable? How do I think better? How do I regulate emotion better? How do I make smarter choices? How do I use today's income to create tomorrow's freedom? Because wealth, in many ways, is less about one big decision and more about repeated patterns. Patterns of discipline, patterns of delayed gratification, patterns of strategic thinking, patterns of emotional control. And this is important. So hear me when I say this. Your future financial life is being built right now by the patterns you are rehearsing today. And everyone I've worked with, how often do I talk about behavioral patterns and the fact that patterns have components, adjust the components, and you change the overall pattern. Every purchase, every avoided conversation, every investment in skill, every excuse, every calculated move. You're not merely managing money, you're rehearsing an identity. And if you continue rehearsing the identity of someone who consumes more than they create, avoids more than they act, fears more than they build, then your future will often reflect that. But if you begin, even imperfectly, to rehearse the identity of someone who thinks strategically, acts intentionally, builds consistently, and expands intelligently, then over time, your external world starts catching up to your internal one. And this is why I want to challenge you now, not theoretically, but practically. For the next week, I don't want you obsessing over how do I become rich. Instead, ask yourself this very single day, what would the wealthiest version of me do today? Not fantasy, not ego, not pretending. Reality. Would they waste this money? Would they avoid this opportunity? Would they delay this conversation? Would they stay comfortable here? Would they invest in this skill? Would they build this system? Because that question begins to close the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. And understand this. This matters whether you're broke, stable, successful, or scaling. Because wealth is not a finish line. So as this episode ends, don't just admire the ideas. Don't just agree with them. Disagree if you want. Don't just think this makes sense. Decide. Decide what changes now. Decide what pattern ends here. Decide what standard rises today.
If you found this video useful, please share it with someone who may need it. And please do us a favor, click on the subscribe button, like this video, and click on the notification button so the next time we release a video, you will be informed. But for now, this is Crom.
And this is Jono.
Thank you for being with us here at the Mindset Channel. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now.
See you next week, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.